Hi, parents, guardians, families. My name is Lucy Hoffman, and I am going to be your student's world history teacher over the course of this school year. I sent out a video before the school year started introducing myself to you all, but I'm going to take some time to reintroduce myself and cover some of the nuts and bolts of our world history class, including things that we're going to cover this semester, this year, as well as our grading practices here on the world history team. So a little bit about me. I grew up in the northern suburbs of Chicago, and I went to the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where I studied history and political science. After that, I went on to National Louis University, where I received my master's in secondary education and my teaching certification. So that brings me here to LT. I wrapped up that program back in March, just this March of 2020, right before chaos ensued and we were all sent back home. But I was able to finish that up, and this is now my first teaching position and first year at LT. I'm so excited to be a part of your community and to get to know your students over the course of this school year. I said this in my previous video, I love history and I love social studies, but the real reason that I'm here is to develop positive and strong relationships with your students and provide them the guidance that they need, especially in these times of uncertainty and change. So like I said, I'm going to walk us through some of the grading practices that we have here on our world history team. And so I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm using Zoom because why not? It's what we're using all the time. So what I have here is our world history page. This is our Canvas page where students come to every single time they come to class. I've included my name and my email at the top. That's the best way to contact me. If you or your student has any questions, they can also contact me through Canvas. But if you would like to contact me, lhoffman@lths.net. Also on this homepage, I've included our class Zoom links. Sometimes these get updated for security purposes, as well as just we love technology. It can be glitchy sometimes, and so I like to change the links in order to get ahead of those problems. And if a student is trying to log on to a Zoom class just because they saved a link, they should be logging on to class through Canvas each day. As a form of security, sometimes the passcodes change. They can find their class Zoom links right here. Also on our homepage, we have our schedule for the day. So every time they come to class, they should see what is on the agenda for the day, as well as anything we've done throughout the week. So I will be happy to meet with any student during office hours if they miss class, but they can also just check what happened in class that day by looking at these documents. I'll oftentimes include slides of the day so that they can follow along right there with us. And at the bottom, we have some other links, such as the link to my office hours, the syllabus, and then some tech tools and tutorials in case students need some guidance in that department. I'm going to take us to our syllabus where we can go over some of our grading criteria and course skills and goals for the year. So you can find all of this on that syllabus link. And what we have here is our syllabus. So first, I'd like to walk you through our standards and essential outcomes. We have 5 essential skills that we practice over the course of the year. And all of our grading ties back to these skills. So our 5 main skills are 1, that they can analyze and explain historical sources, so primary, secondary sources. They can identify key historical persons, places, events, or ideas. So that's where a lot of our content comes from, that identifying these important figures, places, events, that's our skill 2. Skill 3, developing and supporting a historical argument. We'll oftentimes refer to that as a claim, and backing that up with evidence and then acknowledging counterclaims of the counter argument. Skill 4, I can describe causes and effects of historical events, and I can connect historical events to the modern era, to today. Over the course of our first semester, we focus on skills 1, 2, and 3. And then over the course of second semester, we'll add on these 2 skills right here of describing cause and effect and connecting history to the modern era. We will do this throughout the course of multiple units. Our first week, couple weeks have been focused on skills of an historian and then ancient civilizations, like how does where we live affect how we live. And we'll move through units such as world religions, governments, economic exchanges, and so forth, moving into our semester 2. And you can find all of these on our syllabus if you'd like to take a look at what our essential questions are that guide us through each unit. The required text is our textbook. I'm trying to provide digital versions of readings when we use them so that it's easier to access instead of lugging around that textbook. And just some supplemental learning experiences we might have. We watch a lot of videos and we use a lot of actual primary sources in order to do some meaningful learning. In terms of other supplies, as you can see, we're all virtual, so it's not totally required that they have that 3-ring binder. But I actually have had them make a world history folder on Google Drive and share it with me so that they are able to put all of their documents and things that they get from class there. This is a way to keep us organized, especially as we're getting into not just a new learning environment virtually, but as freshmen, a new environment physically as well. Some course expectations that I have, things look a little different obviously, but those expectations remain the same, is that we're coming to class prepared, ready to participate, and interacting respectfully. My goal is to create a safe and comfortable learning environment for all students, and that requires their participation, but also their respectful participation. So coming on time, using your voice. We use a lot of breakout rooms, so even if it's just in our smaller groups to start off, getting our students talking and interacting with one another is going to be super important as we're trying to foster meaningful connection in this way. And lastly, the way that our grading works. So over the course of our year, we will be communicating levels of achievement based off of the skills that I mentioned before, based off of those 5 skills. Over the course of a semester, there will be 100 points, and each summative assessment that we do has 10 points attached to it. And the only things that count towards their grade are called summative assessments. We do several what are called formative assessments that are practice rounds, right? If you're not practicing, it's not going to look the same in a game, right? So if we are communicating these formative practice assessments and how they're doing along the way, those will not be counted towards the grade, but will ultimately build up to what is counted towards the grade, such as our summative assessments. These will be marked in Infinite Campus as summatives. Anything that is not counted towards a student's grade will appear with an asterisk next to it and appear in red. So anything in red will not be counted towards the grade, only unit projects and unit content quizzes as our summative assessments. Retakes are available. There are certain criteria that we have to do in order to qualify for that retake. So if you're not totally successful in demonstrating a skill on a summative assessment, you are able to review and reflect upon that previous assessment and make sure that you've completed all assigned practice assessments prior to that retake. If you're not practicing, it's not going to pay off so much in that retake still. So we want to make sure students are getting the most out of it. So with that being said, like I said, my contact information is also at the bottom of this syllabus, along with my room number. I'm always available over email if you want to email me with any questions, or even a Zoom or phone call, as we don't get to meet each other face to face. So that is who I am, what we're doing here with our world history curriculum. And ultimately, I hope to make the most meaningful learning experiences for our students as possible. No amount of distance or technological difficulties can stop us. We'll make it work. So again, if you have any questions, never hesitate to reach out. And I look forward to a school year we will never forget. Thanks, everyone.